So basically, the thing is that if we talk about power resources, so resources can be primarily divided into two types. One are the renewable resources and others are the non-renewable resources.
Yes.
Now, the primary difference between the two is related to quantity. If we talk about the non-renewable resources, they are the resources which are limited in quantity and are going to end one day. Like for example, if we talk about coal, oil, natural gas, nuclear power, these are the resources which if they are being if we keep on using them continuously, so a day is going to come when these resources are going to end and we will be left over with nothing. These resources are called as non-renewable resources because once they are used they cannot be replenished. Talking about the non but talking about the renewable resources, so these are the resources which are unlimited in quantity, which means that they will be available forever and they are not going to end no matter what happens. For example, we have the solar power, that is the sunlight. If the energy is generated out of the sunlight is not going to end at any point. If we talk about the wind energy is available at all times. Specifically, there are certain areas such as the coastal areas where a lot of wind is available. So wind energy can be generated therein. We have hydropower, that is energy generated out of water. We have geothermal, that is energy generated from the heat that is available under the land. Or we have biomass, that is energy generated out of animal manure or rotten crops, etc. So these are the resources which are going to be available forever and they are not going to end at any point. They are called as the renewable resources. So this is a definition available for both. This is a primary definition. All those resources available in unlimited quantity, that is, they will not run off, are known as renewable. They may include water, sunlight, air, etc. All those resources which are limited and the continuous usage which will end them are known as renewable. They may include coal, oil, gas, nuclear power, etc. Here in this chapter
Right.
of your book, we are going to study about both the resources. That is, we are going to talk about that how energy is generated out of the renewable resources, and also we are going to talk about that how energy is generated out of the non-renewable resources. So first of all, we are going to talk about the non-renewable resources. So one of the best non-renewable resource for energy generation is coal. The question here arises that how the quality of coal is going to be identified. So the quality of coal is identified with the help of carbon content available in it. The higher the carbon content available in coal, the better is going to be the quality of coal. Coal is a fossil fuel and is formed due to the decomposition of the natural vegetation under the land. If we dig the mountains and other areas, we usually find coal. So on the basis of
Right.
carbon content, coal is of two types. If you refer to page 133 of your book, you are going to see therein on the right hand side of the page, there is a chart available on the types of coal, wherein four types
Yeah.
of coal have been mentioned, which is anthracite, bituminous, lignite, and peat. Anthracite is one of the best quality of coal, which comprises of 90% of carbon. Then we have bituminous, which comprises of about 70% of carbon. Then we have lignite, which comprises of about 50% of carbon. And then we have peat, which comprises of about 20% of carbon, which means that it is the lowest quality of coal available.
Right.
Talking about Pakistan, there are two types of coal available in Pakistan, which are bituminous and lignite. Coal power plants have been set up in Pakistan, such as at Sahiwal in Punjab and at Bin Qasim. Power plants have been set up which are generating energy on a large scale. And coal, if we talk about the coal fields where coal is found in Pakistan, the areas are also important. The examiner can in the exam can ask you the area. So if you turn the page on page 134, on the top, if you see, there is a chart available. Uh, in the third or the fourth column of the chart, if you see there, therein the location of the coal fields are mentioned, wherein we have the Quetta coal
Yeah.
fields, Potwar Plateau, Third Desert, and other areas. So you need to learn the name of, of these areas. Ke the examiner can ask you in any way ke where the coal fields are located. Also, if we talk about the uses of coal, so coal is used in the cement industry on a large scale, and coal is also used for energy generation. The question here arises ke how electricity is generated out of coal. So the process is quite easy. The process is that basically coal is used to heat the water. So once the water get heated, it turns into steam. That steam is used to run the turbine. The turbine moves and the generator attached to the turbine generates electricity, which is then stored in the transformer and is transported to the houses. So for a very long past and up to now in some areas as well, even coal is used for energy generation in Pakistan. And coal is one of the important fossil fuel because one of the best power output can be obtained out of coal. This can be imagined out of the fact that coal was available previously. Coal was used for running the steam engines as well. So this is why coal is important. The second important power resource that we are having is oil. Oil is found under the land, and usually where natural gas is found, at that point below natural gas, oil is discovered. Oil is also called as black gold. Oil is discovered in crude raw form. That is, crude oil is found in its raw state, and it is processed and refined. Basically, what happens is that crude oil is obtained under the land. It is brought through pipelines and is transported to the refineries like this in the picture. Then in these refineries, basically the crude oil moves through the process of fractional distillation, wherein crude oil is broken down into various byproducts such as petrol, diesel, kerosene oil, etc. Many other byproducts are there of crude oil, which are obtained on a large scale. If we talk about Pakistan, Pakistan is not having the reserves of crude oil on a large scale. So what Pakistan does is that Pakistan imports crude oil, and then the crude oil is used for this. The same crude oil is being transported to the local refineries, wherein the crude oil is refined and then it is transported to various areas of Pakistan. Primarily, there are two oil refineries in Pakistan. One is the National Oil Refinery located in Karachi. Another one is Attak Oil Refinery located near the Potwar Plateau, that is in Punjab. This is how oil is discovered. Actually, what happens is that this is natural gas. Below natural gas, oil reservoirs are found, and these are actually porous rocks. Between those porous rocks, oil is discovered and is extracted. If you refer to, I think the page number is going to be around page number 135 or 137. The page number is going to be wherein oil drilling process is available.
135, yeah.
If you refer to page 135, yeah, at that point, we refer to page 136, figure 8.12. If you see
there's oil prospecting and drilling.
Page 136, figure 8.12. Where therein, if you see, it is showing you a derrick. The derrick is dismantled after oil has been found, and the drilling takes place through pipes and valves, and then the oil is brought out and is transported to the refineries, where it is refined, and once it has been refined, it is used. If you refer to page 137, therein you are going to see figure 8.14. This is also important. Mark this figure as well. This is about the uses of oil, that where oil can be used. This is also important. Mark this figure, mark figure 8.12. Labeling of figure 8.12 can come in the exam. Above of 8.12, if you see, there is the figure 8.11, which is similar to the figure on the screen, wherein it is showing you that how oil is extracted out of the porous rocks, And these pipes kind of things are actually anti-saline traps, which are used to bring the oil up from under the ground. This is also important. These kind of figures can come for labeling, so you must be aware about them as well. Acha, this thing is important. If you move further on page 138, it is written about Parco Pak Arab Refinery Company. Now, this is the company which is responsible for importing the oil and for distribution of oil all across Pakistan. If we talk about the transportation of oil across Pakistan, so it is done through rail tankers, it is done through pipelines, or it is done through road tankers. Also, if you see on the right hand side of the page, it's written that Parco has launched a white oil pipeline project. Now, this white oil pipeline project, it has been launched to transport oil to the northern areas of Pakistan, that is in the mountainous areas. At times, it becomes difficult to transport the oil. So the best form of transportation is that oil can be transported through pipelines or other things. So yes, if you refer to figure 8.15, therein it is telling you that how the white oil pipeline project is going to be extended from Bin Qasim till the northern areas and how it is going to transport the oil. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Hmm.
So this figure 8.15 is important if you see. Acha ji. So if we talk about oil, these are the areas that is in Potwar Plateau. It is found in these areas, which are Dharnal, Joyamir, Adi. In Lower Sindh, it is found in Mazari, Khaskheli, Tandwadam. In the Potwar, there is the Atak Oil Refinery. In Karachi, there is a National Arab Oil Refinery. We talk about the modes of extraction. You just need to remember the name that oil is extracted through drilling, dripping, or pumping. You don't need to remember the procedure, just the names are important. Also, the uses of products of oil, that the byproducts are used in manufacturing paraffin wax, plastics, synthetic rubbers, any four, if you remember, that is going to be enough. Oil can be used as a source of electricity. Acha, how electricity is generated out of oil? Again, oil is generated in a similar manner, that electricity out of oil is generated in a similar manner, the one that I have told you for gas as well. If you want it, you can write it as well. That the water is heated through oil or coal or natural gas. The water is heated through oil, coal, or natural gas, which generates steam, which generates steam, and the steam is used to run the turbine,
and that is used
to run the turbine attached to which is a generator, attached to which is a generator,
attached
to which is a attached to which is a generator, which generates electricity, and is then stored in the in the transformer.
In the
Transformer.
transformer.
Full stop. This method of production is called as thermal electricity production.
Right.
This is important because in the exam it can ask you that what is thermal electricity. Thermal electricity is that if you are producing electricity out of coal, out of oil, out of natural gas, or out of nuclear power, the process is going to be the same. That is called as thermal electricity. Just if you are using coal to heat the water, that is the coal is going to be the raw material therein. If you are using oil, the oil is going to be the raw material. If you are using nuclear power is going to be the raw material to heat the water. Steam is going to be produced, which is going to run the turbine. The generator is going to generate the electricity, which is then going to be stored in the transformer and is going to be supplied to the required areas. Clear? So this is something about the uses of oil and the uses of products. If we talk about the modes of transportation, I've already told you that the modes of transportation are tanker ships, rail tankers, and the rail tankers, road tankers, and the pipelines which are used to transport the oil all across Pakistan and to import the oil from other countries. Usually, Pakistan is importing oil from areas such as Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, other areas as well. Pakistan has been at times from UAE. Pakistan has also imported oil. So yeah, various countries are there from where oil has been imported. Apart from oil, there is another fuel which is called as natural gas. Natural gas is a cheap fuel. The reason for it being cheap is that uh, the power output capacity of natural gas is quite low. The best power output capacity is of coal, the second best is of oil, and the third best is of natural gas. Natural gas is found just above oil, and it was first discovered in Pakistan in the year 1952 at Sui, Balochistan, and it was discovered by a company called as Pakistan Petroleum Limited. While they were drilling in search of oil, natural gas was discovered. This gas field is considered to be one of the largest in the world. From this gas field, natural gas is supplied to all across Pakistan. A pipeline network has been set up towards Karachi and towards Sindh areas, and a pipeline network has been set up towards Punjab areas as well. So soon after a discovery, a pipeline to Karachi was completed to provide cheap fuel. Another pipeline to Multan, Lahore, and Faisalabad was also completed in the 1960s. So natural gas is again used to generate electricity. Natural gas is used as a fuel in motor vehicles and machineries and other stuff as well. But nowadays natural gas is in short of supply and is not available easily in Pakistan everywhere. If we talk about the areas, so primarily natural gas was found in Balochistan, in Sui, in Pirko. In Potwar Plateau, there are two areas where natural gas reserves have been discovered, which are Mayal, which are Thurnal. And in Sindh as well, there is the area Mari and Khairpur, wherein reserves of natural gas have been discovered. For the modes of extraction are going to be similar as that of oil, such as drilling, pumping. If we talk about the uses, it is used as a domestic fuel usually for cooking and heating. It is also used in industry and is used as a raw material in fertilizer industry. However, in the fertilizer industry, at times it is replaced with coal. At times coal is replaced with natural gas. The reason for being so is that natural gas is used in very large quantity and at times turns out to be expensive. Natural gas is usually of two types. It is compressed natural gas, or it can be liquefied petroleum gas or liquefied natural gas. LNG are the forms which are usually available. It is transported through pipelines. It is transported through cylinders as well. Actually, one important issue, if you remember, we were discussing in the chapter forest as well, that in the areas, in the northern areas, deforestation is going on a large scale because the natural gas is not available in those areas. So for the heating purpose and for the lighting purpose, the people require natural gas, but that is not available. So what they do is that they cut down trees and they are using it for heating and lighting purpose. So and in the northern areas, no pipeline network is available due to the mountains and the altitude. and the topography of that area, no pipelines are available. Now what the government is doing, that the government is converting the gas into liquid. That is, the natural gas is converted into liquid. That is called as the liquefied natural gas, which is then transported through cylinders to the northern areas in order to avoid deforestation. So that is something important. If you see, I think it is on page number 139 of your book. If you refer to page 139, 140. If you refer to page 140 of your book, therein, if you see figure 8.20 is about the distribution of natural gas across Pakistan.
Hmm.
This figure is important. A question can come pertaining to this figure that describe the distribution of natural gas across Pakistan. So you are going to explain in a manner that the natural gas pipelines begin from the point Sui in Balochistan. It extends towards Sindh and is spread over in various areas of Sindh. However, the pipeline network has extended towards the areas of Punjab, such as Multan, Faisalabad, Islamabad, and also in some areas of KPK, that is Peshawar. However, no gas pipeline network was found in the northern areas of Pakistan, and no gas pipeline network was found in Balochistan. This is how you are going to explain the figure 8.20. Talking about figure 8.21 is the name of the main gas fields. You are required to remember the names of any 2 or 3 main gas fields. That is going to be enough. Moreover, above figure 8.20, if you see, therein it is a box of gray in color. This is basically the description that how natural gas is transported to the northern areas. Read this description as well so that you can have an idea about it. It is telling you that how basically the natural gas is converted into liquid and how it is transported to the natural northern areas. This is important.
Can you please repeat what you were saying?
I'm saying that above figure 8.20, there is a box gray in color. Okay.
Mhm.
Read that box. It is telling you that how the natural gas is transported to the northern areas.
Okay. How it's
Okay.
transported.
Yeah, this is important.
Okay, yes.
Okay, and there are certain organizations, if you refer to figure 8.23, these are the names of certain organizations which are responsible for various aspects, such as the Geological Survey of Pakistan. This is the organization responsible for doing surveys and for discovering various minerals across Pakistan. So these kind of things are going to help you writing down a 6-mark question. Whenever a 6-mark question comes in the exam, you are required to take help of write down the names of these organizations, such as there is another organization, Oil and Gas Development Company, which is to explore oil and gas resources in Pakistan. Sui Northern Gas Pipeline, which is to distribute gas in Punjab and KPK. Sui Southern Gas, which is to transport gas in Sindh and Balochistan. Parco is the company responsible for importing oil and transporting it all across Pakistan. So these are the names of the companies which can be important for you once you are writing down a 6-mark question. To mark this box as well, it is also important.
Right. Okay.
Okay, Ji. Moving on further, the next thing that we have is nuclear power. Nuclear energy is the energy which is released out of uranium or nuclear atoms, which is generated or released out of atoms as a result of atomic fission. Atomic fission is a process when the atoms are being split into smaller atoms. That process takes place usually in a nuclear power station, and the energy that is generated is called as the nuclear energy. Across the world, the best power output that is available is of the nuclear energy. Across the world, the best power output available that we have is of nuclear energy. No other resource, neither coal, oil, or gas, is capable to meet the power output capacity of nuclear energy. It is said that if you burn 1 ounce of nuclear energy, the energy generated is going to be equivalent of burning 1 million tons of coal. So nuclear energy in any sense is not comparable to coal, oil, gas. This is why I have not used it in ranking as well while I was ranking coal, oil, and gas, because it is not comparable. So again, nuclear energy is used to heat the water, which is going to make steam, which makes the turbine to make electricity. The modern countries of the world are nowadays using nuclear power plants to generate energy on a large scale. But one of the major drawbacks of nuclear energy is that it is hazardous to human health. And
Right.
nuclear energy is very expensive for on the stance that it is its disposal turns out to be expensive, because once you have generated out energy out of the nuclear power, you cannot dispose, or you cannot just throw away the radioactive elements like that. You need to dispose them off properly, because the effects of nuclear energy remain in the environment forever. If you have heard about Japan, during the World War II, America had bombed one of the area of Japan, that was Hiroshima. Due to a nuclear bomb being dropped in that area, all of the population was destroyed. Even today, the children that are born are not able to walk properly, or are usually what we call is that they are not normal. So yeah, this is an issue which occurs due to the nuclear power, that nuclear energy is having harmful effects in the environment if it is left undisposed. So uranium is the fuel which is widely used to produce nuclear energy, and nuclear power is also uh, non-renewable, that once the uranium has been used, the uranium cannot be used again to produce a nuclear energy. So, and the reserves of uranium are uh, getting few in number due to the continuous usage. So yeah, this is why nuclear energy is also a renewable source of energy. A question can come in the exam about the advantages and disadvantages of nuclear power. If we discuss the advantages and disadvantages of nuclear power, so nuclear power does not produces any pollution. It does not contribute to global warming. The fuel cost of nuclear power is very low. And another advantage of nuclear power is that it is not going to explode immediately, just like if you burn coal, or if you burn natural gas, or if you burn oil, they are going to explode immediately. However, natural gas takes a lot of time in exploding. So from that point, you can say it is safe up to some extent. However, there are various disadvantages of nuclear power. That is, it is radioactive, and safe disposal is difficult and expensive. Large scale accidents can be catastrophic, and the public perception of nuclear power is negative. The cost of building and safely decommissioning the nuclear power can be very high, and it cannot react quickly to changes in electricity demand. So these are some of the issues that we have observed out of the nuclear power. When we see a question can come in the exam asking you of 6 marks, it can be asking you the advantages and the disadvantage of nuclear power. So you are required to write them down accordingly. So this is something, a brief description about the nuclear power and the other non-renewable resources when we talk about them. Okay. Acha ji. Moving on further, the next thing in this chapter that we have is about the alternative energy sources. Alternative energy sources means the renewable energy sources which are going to be available forever and are not going to end any day. If we talk about the alternative energy sources, so as we have discussed before, and we have the option of solar, we have the option of wind power, hydropower, we have the option of geothermal, biofuel, and then there is some wave power as well, which is done through the sea, or the tidal power done in the rivers. We are going to discuss all these things. Primarily, the first thing that we need to discuss is solar power. Solar power is the energy of the sunlight is used by the solar cells, and it is used to generate energy on a large scale. Actually, what happens is that in the solar panels, there are certain photovoltaic cells which convert the sunlight's heat energy into electricity. However, this heat energy, the power output capacity of solar energy is not very high, and you need to install a lot of solar panels in order to generate electricity on a large scale. Such as that, if you see in the picture as well, this is an area in Bhavalpur, Punjab, wherein so much of the solar panels are installed just to generate energy up to some extent. So
Right.
yeah, this is something herein. Acha, for solar energy, if we talk about the advantages, so solar power does not generate any water pollution or air pollution. Yes, this is one advantage. Solar energy can be efficiently used for heating and lighting, and if there is a battery system installed along with the solar panels, so yes, the solar energy can be stored for later use as well. And so, yeah, these are some of the advantages when we talk about the solar power. However, associated with the solar power are some disadvantages as well. Like, for example, solar power does not produces energy if the sun is not shining. Yeah, the areas where the sunlight is not available at all times, you cannot generate solar power in those areas. Solar power stations can be very expensive to build. So yeah, it is going to be capital intensive. Solar energy is renewable, but it can only be reaped during the daytime. Another major disadvantage, 50% of the sun energy is being uh, converted into electricity, and the rest 50% is wasted. So we can say that these solar panels, they waste a lot of energy, of sun energy, while they are converting the sunlight into electricity. That is also one disadvantage. Talking about wind power, that is another source of generating electricity and is a renewable source. Wind power is used for many purposes like sailing, kite flying, etc. Wind power is usually installed in the rural areas, that is in the villages. If you see wind power, you are going to observe, because it requires an open area where wind is available easily. Usually near the coastal areas, wind turbines are installed. What happens is that a turbine is having a blade of the fans, and along with these blades installed is a generator. So once the turbine moves, the generator generates the electricity, and which is then stored in the transformer and is supplied to where it is required. However, wind power cannot generate energy on a large scale, and it can only be used in the rural areas where it is used on a farm or somewhere else. They are expensive to build as well. However, wind power does not generate any kind of oil or air pollution, noise pollution, or whatever. It does not generate anything like that. But when, yeah, and when all those areas where wind is available, you can easily generate electricity out of the wind. It does not require a lot of space as well, and it is excellent for power production. However, there are some negative impacts, yeah, negative sides of the wind power as well, such as it destroys the scenic beauty. First of all, if you install large windmills in an area, it is going to destroy the scenic beauty. It can kill the birds as well, and it can be expensive to build as well. It can be costly, and it cannot generate energy on a large scale. It cannot be installed in areas where frequently wind is not available. So yeah, these are some of the disadvantages of wind energy. Chaji, moving on further, the next thing that we have is hydroelectricity. Hydroelectricity is actually the conversion of water into um hydroelectric power. Uh, that is, the water from the dams is used and it is made to fall on a running turbine with pressure, and the turbine moves and the generator generates electricity. That is called as hydroelectricity. Pakistan is having dams. Uh, Three large dams are there of Pakistan. If you remember, we have studied them as well, which are Mangala Dam, which is there on the river Jehlam. There is the Tarbela Dam on river Indus. We have the Varsak Dam on river Kabul in the northwest. These are the three large dams and which is used to generate hydroelectricity. Hydropower generation requires high altitude or a steep slope from where the water can be made to fall with pressure. So it is best developed in the mountainous regions, and this is why the northern areas of Pakistan are the best for hydroelectricity generations. This is the process of a hydropower plant. You need to remember it very well. It is there in your book as well. Labeling of this diagram can come in the exam. This is a reservoir where water is stored. This is a dam which is used to uh, which is used push the water on a running turbine from a height with pressure. And this is the turbine. Due to the water falling on the turbine moves. This is the generator associated with the turbine, which generates electricity, which is then stored in the transformer and is transported to the power lines. So yeah, the diagram itself is important and the labeling is important as it can come in the examination. So yeah, these are the things which are important for you. Okay, moving on further. If we talk about hydroelectricity, so there are some advantages associated with hydroelectricity as well, which can be that energy is generated constantly, and if water is available, so energy can be generated to full capacity very easily. There is no waste, no pollution, any kind of, and the water, if you see, this is the outflow. So the water that has been left over out of the production of hydroelectricity can be reused again. So this is one advantage as well, that there are no wastages. Even there is no wastage of water as well. The water can again be used as well. However, there are some disadvantages associated with hydroelectric power, such as dams can be very expensive to build. The maintenance cost can be very high, and there needs to be sufficient and powerful enough supply of water in the area to produce energy. So yeah, these are some of the things which are important to be remembered. Okay, so yeah,
Okay, got it.
any confusions